Hiya, and welcome to the first Ackhead 3 Super Ultra Mega Comprehensive Leveling Guide for Beginners. No, that's not what I'm going to be calling it for the rest of this video, but this is a video to give people generally a good idea of what maps to level in if they don't know where to go. Now, all of the maps here may not be the optimal maps for your specific class, but generally for all classes, the maps in this guide will be something that you can get decent rates with. Once again, not optimal. If you want to see optimal rotations to make the highest amount of meso or XP, then you might want to look elsewhere. And remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thanks. Now, one more thing I do want to note before I get into this video is this is not a guide until all the way to level 300, so I will not be suggesting any Cernium, Burnium, or Hotel Arcus maps. The only reason for this is because personally, I'm level 260 and I haven't farmed there myself. So I won't be making a guide until I'm well informed, and I'll probably be putting those in a shorter form video. Not only that, there is one important thing to note about this leveling guide and in Reboot especially. Now, for every level that you are below the mob, you will be dealing 5% less damage. So for example, if I'm 10 levels less than the mob in question, then I will be doing 50% of my final damage. Not only that, when I use terms like one-shotting or two-shotting, I am referring to using your main mobbing ability to take out the mobs in either 1 or 2 hits. If you're using an ability that ticks multiple times within a fraction of a second, and it takes multiple hits to kill the mob, that is totally fine if that 1 or 2 or 3 shots, because either way you'll probably be killing the mob before the next set of mobs spawn. So once you hit level 10 and get your first job advancement, the first map you will be going to is Close to the Sky in Alenia, where you'll be fighting level 13 fairies. They have 300 HP and they give 37 XP. Now, the reason why I recommend this map and a lot of the other maps in this guide will be similar to this one is because it's fairly simple. You just go from the top to the bottom, clearing the mobs as you go down, and you reset and go back to the top. Not only that, if you stand in the center of this map, as soon as you level up, you will pretty much instantly get another level for free, because you wipe out this entire map. It's seriously crazy, and you only need to do this map until you get to like level 15, and maybe if you're not necessarily confident in yourself, then get to level 20 here. So once you get to level 15, you finally get the gift of options. I will go over the best maps for the level 15 to 30 category. Personally, my recommendation for the best map in this range is the Giant Tree map, where you fight Evil Eyes, or as I like to call them, Ugly Eyes, because look at them. They have 1,160 HP, and they give 70 EXP while being level 26. Now, this map also fairly condensed like the fairies. It's a little larger, and the maps and the mobs, not the maps, the mobs move around quite a bit and jump, which is probably the worst thing about this map. But compared to other maps and the amount of mob density in this map, it's easily my #1 pick for getting to level 30. Now, the best alternative to the Ugly Eyes is the Scrap Iron Waste, located in the Waste Treatment Plant 3. They're level 29. They have 1,580 HP, and they give 84 EXP. Now, this map is a lot more consistent than the Evil Eyes, because these mobs are a lot slower and they don't jump. And the platforms on this map are also fairly flat. So this map is pretty good, sometimes even better than the Evil Eye map, depending on what class you're playing. But the map is fairly large, and the platforms are quite far apart, so first job classes might find this map to be a little difficult to traverse. Now, if you're a psychopath who likes to sit in the same map, then I would recommend the Flaming Mixed Golems from level 10 to 30 in Golem's Temple 3. They are level 19, they have 525 HP, and they give 54 XP. Now, it doesn't seem like they give a lot of XP, but the mob density and the map layout in this map is really good. Plus, the mobs are huge and they move very slowly, so hitting the mobs won't be an issue for any sort of first job class. The only issue with this map is that it won't give as good EXP as the other two maps, but once again, this map is also fairly consistent. So now that you've hit level 30 and got your second job advancement, congratulations by the way, there's two ways to get to level 60 or your third job advancement. The first way is going through questing, and the second way is going through the farming route. I highly suggest farming if this isn't your first character because farming is faster in every way, shape, or form. But if it's your first character and you want to experience the quest lines and have a good time, then doing the Gold Beach, Eladin, Rihanna Strait, and Alenia Ferry Academy quest lines will each give you 10 levels. You can choose 3 of these quest lines and do them in any order until you get to level 60. So the first map that you're going to farm in after you hit your second job is Hazard's Lair 1, where you will be fighting Hazard's Rotten Cronies. They are level 40. They have 11,400 HP, and they give 218 EXP. Now, the map is very, very large. It's kind of rough for a lot of classes, but the thing that makes this map so good above all the others is just the sheer amount of XP that these mobs give. Getting 218 EXP at level 30 will probably level you up within a couple mobs if you have EXP coupons active. And if you don't one-shot these mobs as soon as you hit level 30, don't worry, that's normal. The level difference between you and the mob is what's seriously reducing your damage. All that matters is that you take them out and you get the great amount of XP that they give you. So once you're level 45, you're going to make a quick pit stop at the Wild Boar land where you're going to be fighting wild boars and terrified wild boars. They have the exact same stats for some reason. Thank you, Nexon. They are both level 55. They have 24,000 HP and they give 355 EXP. Once again, like the Hazard's Lair, the map is fairly large, but the mob density is very good in this map, and the EXP that comes from these mobs are pretty good. So you only do this for a couple levels because soon there is a map that is much better than this one. So the reason why we made this pit stop is so that we could close the level difference for the mobs in this next map. It's a secret map and it's probably going to show up over here right about any time now. The map is called Military Camp 1. You will be fighting mummy dogs and skelly dogs. And just like the boars, they are for some reason the exact same level. Thanks, Nexon. They're both level 62. They both have 50,400 HP. And they both give 614 EXP. This map is back to the basics, just like the ferry map, just a top-down map. You hit everything from the top to the bottom, take the portal, it'll take you back to the top, and you do the same thing over and over again. Now, once again, these mobs are obviously going to be a little tough, so if you don't one-shot them, that's fine. But obviously, do what you can to get as much damage as possible. You should be around level 50 while fighting these things, so you will unlock your inner ability. Look in your quest log. There's probably a quest there that'll give you just more free stats to do damage against these things. They are tough. but it is worth the amount of XP that you get because it is literally almost double from the boars. So even if it takes time to kill these things, it is totally fine. Just push through it until you get to level 60. I promise you it's worth it. So after taking some time at the Skelly Dogs, you should finally be level 60. Congratulations on your 3rd job advancement. But now you're wondering, where do I go next? And for my returning players, you're probably thinking, well, just go to Copper Drakes, right? No, wrong. You don't go to Copper Drakes. The first map that you go to right after level 60 is Stairway to the Sky 1, where you will be fighting Lioners, Cellians, and Groupins. Once again, they all have the same stats, so you don't need to worry about that. They're all level 71. They have 99,000 HP, and they give 955 EXP. The reason why I recommended this map over Copper Drakes is because you only need to kill at half the speed to make the same amount of EXP. But the thing is that the mob density in this map is so good that you will be making much, much more. It's just like Copper Drakes. It's a top-down map, but there's no portal to bring you back to the top. It's a trampoline instead. So you have to jump to the bottom, and a trampoline will send you all the way to the top. Same thing like always, just start from the top and rotate to the bottom and go back to the top. This map is seriously fantastic. It'll give you really good XP all the way until level 80, in which we will go to our next map. So the final stop that you will be making in the 3rd job region is the old classic, the Desert of Serenity or Sahel 2. Where you will be fighting Dark Sand Dwarfs and Sand Rats. They actually have different stats this time, so I'll go over them. The Dark Sand Dwarfs are level 90. They have 405,000 HP, and they give 3,000 EXP. The Sand Rats, on the other hand, are level 89. They have 387,000 HP, and they give 2,862 XP. Realistically, the differences in the XP that they give is insignificant. So either mob that you kill, just try to kill as many mobs as possible. This is another instance, another map, where you will not be one-shotting. These mobs are very, very tanky. Especially if in your 3rd job you are not going to be one-shotting these things. But the reason why this map is so good is it is literally a flat map. There is nothing else to it. It's just flat. It is just flat, and there are mobs there. It's quite dense as well, so just try to take out as many mobs as you can until you get to level 100, where you will be dealing with your first boss in Maplestory. So now you're level 100. Congratulations on your 4th job. This is where the game actually starts to get fun. I'm so sorry that you had to deal with whatever you did before. But now you get to go and fight your first boss. Normal ZAKUM. You're going to have to go to Elnath, and there's probably a guy who will take you there. Or alternatively, if you're a tanky class, you can teleport to Cave of Trials 3 and walk to the right. But ZAKUM not only gives you a ridiculous amount of XP, he also gives you 2 important items for your early game progression. The Condensed Power Crystal and the Aquatic Letter I accessory. They're both a part of the boss set, and they can both get potential, so they're really good. Try to pop some drop coupons if you have some on this boss, if they're like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't suggest popping any drop coupons if they're longer than 15 minutes, because this boss will literally take you like 30 seconds if you have your 4th job. So I'm going to quickly go over the stats, because each of the arms that ZAKUM has, including ZAKUM himself, have different stats. So ZAKUM himself has 7 million HP, and he gives 360,340 EXP. Now, each of the arms have 700,000 health. The first and the second arm give 672,000 XP for some reason. The third and the fourth arm give 448,000 XP for some reason. And the fifth and the sixth arm give 560,000 XP for some reason. And the 7th and 8th arm give 515,200 XP for some reason. Now, one quick thing to note, you need to make sure that you kill the arms before you kill ZAKUM himself, because it's actually possible for you to kill ZAKUM before you kill the arms, and if you do that, you will be missing out on the huge amount of XP that you get from the arms. This should take you from about level 100 to level 105 to 107, depending on how many XP multipliers you have. And from there on out, we'll be farming pretty much all the way until 200. So now that you're level 100, and you're farming in maps that are considered 4th job and above, you will have to pay attention to a new mechanic called Burning Stage. Burning Stage essentially gives people a reason to farm in maps that don't make the most optimal rates by giving you extra EXP for each mob that you kill. So for example, if a Burning Stage has Burning Stage 10, then you will get an extra 100% EXP for every mob you kill. Hence, why I recommend the Steep Hill map in Lair where you will fight Hankies. Hankies are level 105. They have 828,750 HP, and they give 5,167 EXP. But the thing about this is that this map is always on Burning Stage 10, which means that your XP will always be doubled. So instead of 5,167, you'll be making roughly 10,334 EXP per kill. Not only that, 828,750 sounds like a big number, but I promise you these mobs are fairly squishy. With your 4th job abilities, this mob will just, you'll shred through it. It'll be a breeze, right? And the map layout is, once again, another top to bottom. You just go from the top all the way to the bottom and just reset. The portal at the bottom right doesn't work, however, so you will need to climb the rope or use an up jump if you have. So you're going to have to reset manually. There's no portal to bring you straight back to the top. That's the biggest weakness of this map. But once again, the mob density is amazing, and I highly recommend this map. Not a lot of people do, hence why the Burning Stage is pretty much always maxed. Okay, so after beating up some Hankies for a little bit and giving them the classic old bonk, you should be around level 110. But before I get into the next map, I just want to go a little bit into star forcing. So at this point in time, you should have some gear from ZAKUM and, other sources, just picking them up from mobs and stuff. And there will be Star Force maps. Star Force maps have a certain requirement that you need to meet in order to do your full damage. For this specific map, I'm pretty sure it's around 22 or 24. It'll probably be in the top left somewhere there. So just upgrade your equipment until you have the required Star Force. I suggest that you prioritize your weapon and the accessories that you get from bosses in terms of how you start your equipment, because it's A, the most efficient, and B, it gives you the most stats when you start things in this specific way. So now that that's out of the way, you will be going to the Unbalanced Time secret map, where you will be fighting Starred Dual Ghost Pirates. They are level 119. They have 3,279,262 HP, and they give 12,636 XP. Yet again, like pretty much all of the other maps, nothing is changing here. It's a top-down map. The portal at the bottom right does work this time, though. So just start from the top, go to the bottom, just clear mobs along the way. Yet again, this will be another map where you cannot one-shot these mobs unless if you are very strong. So if you don't one-shot, that's totally fine. The reason why you come to this map is because of the mob density and the amount of XP. 12,636 at level 110 will probably level you up within let's say 50 to 100 mobs. The XP here is truly, truly fantastic. So from the 110 to 130 range, you have options once again. The best alternative to the dual Ghost Pirate map is the Starred Thanatos map. You will need slightly more Star Force. I'm pretty sure it's 26 or 28. I'll probably put a number right here. They are level 122. They have 3,654,225 HP. And they give 13,708 XP. Once again, this map is fairly straightforward, but the rotation is different this time. You start from the bottom right, move to the bottom left, take the portal at the bottom left, it'll bring you to the top left. You move from the top left to the top right, and jump to the bottom right, rinse and repeat. Almost like going in a square. Now, this map has very strong mob density, and it's fairly straightforward. The issue with this map that I have over the dual Ghost Pirates is it does have less mobs overall, and the level for this mob is slightly higher than the dual Ghost Pirates, so doing damage to these mobs initially will be somewhat harder. Hence why I suggest the dual Ghost Pirates, because they're more consistent all the way until 130. So once you hit level 130, my first suggestion for getting to 140 is another Star Force map. You will need 55 Star Force for this map, and the name of the map is the Cave of Trials 2, where you will be fighting Starred Banes and Starred Cerebes. They both have different stats, so I'll go over them now. The Bane is level 136, has 6,868,125 HP, and gives 22,928 XP. And the Cerebes is level 134, has 6,260,062 HP, and gives 21,279 XP. Now, this map is very dense and has very high burning. If you are strong, you can level up instantly in this map. This map is incredible. The only issue with this map is that these mobs are very tanky, once again because they're Star Force mobs, so they're harder to kill. Another issue with this map is a lot of the platforms are very jagged and weird, so traversing this map is not very easy, and killing a lot of the mobs in this map will be not very easy. But if you can figure a way to make a rotation to kill the mobs on this map, you will be making a ridiculous amount of XP. You can probably get to 130 to 140 in like 10 minutes at the very most. But don't worry if you don't like the Cave of Trials 2 map. There is an alternative for weaker players and for players who just don't like the map. If you go to the Black Mountain entrance in the Korean folk town, you will fight Moon Bunnies. They are level 130. They have 3,216,915 HP, and they give 13,489. Now, the only reason why this is an alternative is because the kill speed for these mobs. The rate at which you can kill these mobs is very fast. It will not give you as much XP as the Banes, strictly because you are limited by the amount of XP that you can potentially get from this map. If you kill Banes and Cerebes in the Cave of Trials 2, your potential XP will be much higher. But yet again, potential isn't always possible because the map can always be weird for specific classes like Zero, or you just might not be strong enough to kill the mobs properly. Hence why the Moon Bunnies is a good alternative to that map. So after you murder some poor innocent bunnies or dogs, you should be around level 140. And congratulations for that. You have unlocked your hyper skills and hyper stats. Make sure to assign these, both the stats and the skills. They will give you a lot of damage, and you will need them for the next portion, the next mobs that you will fight. So the next go-to map at level 140 is the 5th floor Cosmetics Shops 3, where you will be fighting Deadly Dressing Tables. They are level 155. They have 9,292,920 HP, and they give 33,277 XP. Now, you can fight these mobs until level 150, or level 160, or somewhere in between, wherever you feel comfortable. More alternatives start to show up at level 150, and I'll be adding notes to make this a lot more digestible, because there is a lot of maps that can work in the 150 to 170 range, because this 150 to 170 range is where mobs start getting a lot stronger and getting XP starts to become a lot harder. So once you hit 250, there's two ways that you can go about getting from 150 to 170. There is the non-Star Force route and the Star Force route. You can mix and match and do these however you like, but for all intents and purposes, I'm going to keep this fairly linear just to make it a lot less annoying and a lot easier to understand. So for level 150 to 160 through the non-Star Force route, you can go to the Colossus West Road 2, where you will fight level 152 Mantises and level 153 Blood Mantises. The normal Mantises have 10,626,000 HP, and they give 29,189 XP. The Blood Mantises, on the other hand, have 11,194,560 HP, and they give 30,491 XP. Now, you might be thinking, these mobs give less XP than the Deadly Dressing Tables, and they have more health. So why would I ever go to this map? And the answer to your question is that this map is not only extremely dense, it is also a very, very good map layout. It is only 2 platforms that you need to kill the mobs on. And this map always has extremely high burning stage. You can probably get 5 to 10 pretty much all the time. Hence why I recommend this map from 150 to 160. So from level 160 to 170 through the non-Star Force route, you can go to the Night District 2, where you will be fighting Official Night Seas. They are level 172. They have 23,443,200 HP, and they give 60,042 XP. This is the point in time where you can pretty much forget about one-shotting mobs no matter how strong you are. These mobs will be very hard to one-shot. But the thing is that they give really, really good XP. So even if you don't one-shot, that's okay. Like always, this map is fairly straightforward. It has 2 platforms at the top and then a ground at the bottom. The platform at the top left is a little higher than the platform at the top right, so take that into account. The map is still fairly good though, and somewhat dense. It's not super dense, but it's pretty much all you need, because you won't even need that many mobs on screen anymore, because you will not be one-shotting. So, with the Star Force route from 150 to 160, you can go to 2nd floor Cafe 4, that rhymes by the way, where you fight Star Enraged Espresso Machines. They are level 155. They have 15,151,500 HP, and they give 44,370 XP. Now, you can do this map from all the way to 160 or all the way to 170, depending on how strong you are. These mobs still give a good amount of XP all the way to 170. And the map layout for the espresso machines is actually really, really good. It's only 3 floors of platforms, and the platforms are very, very condensed. The mobs are also very, very condensed, so just take that into consideration when going to 170. this map is not bad either. So once you get to level 160 by overdosing on some espresso and you're feeling a little bit confident in yourself, then you can go to the 5th floor Cosmetics Shops 4 map, where you will be fighting Starred Deadly Dressing Tables. The Star Force requirement for this map is also 80, so you don't need to change any of your equipment in that regard. The mob level is 161. The HP for this mob is 26,418,000, and it gives 56,030 EXP. Now, the density in this map is also really good, like the espresso machines, but this map is really weird, and the mobs favor characters that can hit more than one platform, that have very large vertical hitboxes. I only suggest this map if you are really, really strong and you can farm this map with some level of efficiency, because the espresso machines give a majority of the XP that the deadly dressing tables do. Once again though, this is a good map and it will get you to 70 probably as fast as possible. So once you get to level 170, the path converges again, and there's pretty much only one option from this point on to 180, which is the Corrupted Magic Forest 2 in Critias, where you will be fighting Corrupted Intermediate Magicians. They are level 181. They have 31,702,000 HP, and they give 77,760 XP. This is just like any of your standard maps. It's a top to bottom map, and it's fairly dense. The burning stage in this map is also really good because this map isn't visited very often, because people tend to have other alternatives for this kind of level. I personally don't recommend any of those alternatives because the investment that you need just to farm in those maps at any sort of significantly decent speed is just way too much. Hence why I say just go to the Corrupted Magicians as soon as you hit 170. Even if you don't do that much damage, it's totally fine. The XP here is still very, very good for what you kill. So once you get to level 180, the first map in Future Perion that you will be farming in is the Desolate Rocky Road, or at least that's what I recommend, where you will be fighting Swollen Stumps and Swollen Dark Stumps. Swollen Stumps are level 190, they have 46,381,280 HP, and they give 136,131 XP. Meanwhile, the Swollen Dark Stumps are level 191, they have 48,180,000 HP, and they give 140,726 XP. Now, when it comes to Future Perion, all of the maps are fairly dense, so the most important thing that you need to watch out for is the burning stage and the map layout. Which this map has very good map layout and usually has pretty okay burning. You'll usually see it from like 2 to 6, depending on how lucky you are or if there was a server reset. Another reason why I recommend this map and not any sort of other map in Future Perion just yet is because of the level difference. The level difference between you and this mob will be 10 levels, and you will probably have a hard time killing these mobs. So I would suggest that you stay away from boars or ancient golems until you reach a higher level, and then use those maps to get to 200, which I'll explain in just a second. So when you're around level 185 to level 190, depending on how strong you are going to go to the old classic map Forsaken Excavation Site 2, where you will fight Sinister Rocky Masks. They are level 195, they have 55,583,440 HP, and they give 159,502 XP. The reason why this map is generally one of the best, or was considered an old classic, is because it has the best layout of any map pre-200. This map seriously is so good. It's literally just 3 platforms. There's nothing else to this map. It's just 3 platforms, and there are mobs on those platforms. But the reason why I don't think Forsaken Excavation Site 2 is not as good as it was before is because the burning stage in this map is just not that great. Some maps can definitely surpass the XP that you can get in this map, but this map is obviously just fairly consistent, hence why I am recommending it now. So after slaughtering a countless number of mobs, you've finally hit level 200, and presumably you've gotten your 5th job advancement, so congratulations on that. Hopefully you enjoyed the wonderful animation when you get your new skills and abilities. So from now on, all of the maps will be taking place in the Arcane River. And in order to actually do damage to the mobs in the Arcane River, you need Arcane Force. It sounds very similar to Star Force, but works in a completely different way. I'll probably have a separate guide. But for now, I will only be stating the Arcane Force requirement for each map, and the Arcane Force that you need to do the maximum amount of damage in each map. Starting with our first map, right at level 200, you will be going to the Weathered Land of Sorrow, where you will need a bare minimum of 30 Arcane Force, and in order to do the maximum damage, you will need 45 Arcane Force. You will be fighting Sad Urdas, and they are level 202. They have 99,731,520 HP, and they give 239,432 XP. Now, starting in the Arcane River is going to be very hard. You'll find yourself doing not a lot of damage to these mobs, and that's totally normal. The maps in Vanishing Journey are also very awkward, but the amount of XP that you get from each of these mobs is worth the reduction in kill speed. At first it'll feel awkward, but once you start getting your nodes together and your symbols, it'll start to feel a lot better. Not only that, all the mobs in the Arcane River drop node stones, which are very important items that you will need to make your character as strong as possible. So I can only recommend this next map, to strong players. So from level 200 to 205, if you are very strong, you can go to Below the Cave, where you will be fighting Tranquil and Lantern Urdas. The minimum Arcane Force requirement for this map is 60, and the Arcane Force you need to do the maximum amount of damage is 90. Tranquil Urdas are level 207. They have 115,540,740 HP, and they give 272,775 XP. While Lantern Urdas are level 208. They have 118,799,100 HP, and they give 279,341 XP. This map has a much better layout than the Sad Urda map. The density is quite similar, but what makes this map a lot better is that it's very horizontal. You don't have to be scaling the map or moving in awkward ways to try to reach the mobs across the map. Not only that, when you kill a Tranquil Urda, it will spawn a Lantern Urda, so even without totems or spawn enhancers, this map can be very good for farming. So after destroying every last mob that you see in the Vanishing Journey and you hit level 205, you're going to need to start doing the Reverse City questline until you unlock the map Tboy's Research Train 1. This is the best map by far, super good layout and super dense, and you will be using this map all the way until 210 from 205. The Arcane Force requirement for the bare minimum is 40, And to do your maximum amount of damage against these mobs, you will need 60 Arcane Force. You will be fighting Seeker T-Drone Model A. They are level 206. They have 112,322,700 HP, and they give 265,581 XP. There is not a single doubt in my mind that this map alone is better than every single map that you could find in both Reverse City and Vanishing Journey combined. This is actually a really good map, and you can probably start to farm a decent bit of mesos for yourself in this map. So after swatting a bunch of drones from the sky, you find yourself to be level 210, and you have done Choo Choo Island. The first map that you will find yourself farming in, or at least the map that I suggest, is Slurpy Forest Depths. The minimum Arcane Force requirement for this map is 100, and the Arcane Force needed to do your maximum amount of damage is 150. You will be fighting Ripe Wolf Fruits and Angry Flyons, and they both have the same stats, so I'll list them now. They're level 213. They have 233,135,280 HP, and they give 611,358 XP. Now, these mobs, in comparison to the mobs in Vanishing Journey and Reverse City, have double the HP, but they give double the XP. So if you find yourself 3 to 4-shotting these mobs, I don't suggest you farm here. I suggest you take some time, do your dailies, level up your arcane symbols and your gear, maybe even close the level gap between you and the mobs until you find yourself 2-shotting or maybe even 1-shotting. It's hard to really suggest these maps until that point because the layout in Tboy's research train is so solid that if you can kill at over half the speed that you can here, then Tboy's research train becomes a better option than this. So let's make the assumption that you do have the damage to kill the mobs in Slurpy Forest Depths. If you don't like the layout, there is an alternative. It's called Bitty-bobble Forest 1, and it has the same Arcane Force requirements as Slurpy Forest Depths. But in this map, you will be fighting Flyons and Angry Flyons. They both have different stats. I've already listed the Angry Flyon stats, so I'll just put them here. The Flyon, on the other hand, though, is level 212. They have 227,195,280 HP, and they give 598,108 XP. There's nothing really different about this map and Slurpy Forest Depths in terms of the XP that they give. It's more of just the layout, so pick whichever map suits your class best. So, after destroying those abominations and going absolutely insane from the choo-choo music, you will be making your way to Yum Yum Island. You will be farming in the map called Mushbud Forest 1. The minimum Arcane Force requirement here is 130, and the Arcane Force required to do the maximum amount of damage is 195, and you will be fighting Monkey Rogs. They are level 215. They have 245,754,000 HP, and they give 639,717 XP. Now, in terms of how beefy these mobs are, it's kind of the same as Choo Choo. The only difference here is the Arcane Force requirement. So if you're not one-shotting here because of the Arcane Force requirement, but you are one-shotting in Choo Choo, I suggest that you stay in Choo Choo until you can one-shot these mobs. The only reason why I suggest these maps over Choo Choo is because of the layout. The layouts in these maps are so much better, so your kill speed will be faster, which means that you just get more XP overall. So there is another option in Yum Yum Island for my strong players. You can go to the hidden Illiard field. Now the Arcane Force requirement here is 190, and the Arcane Force requirement to do the maximum amount of damage is 285. You will be fighting Potent Litones and Potent Stone Peas. They both have the same stats. They are both level 220. They both have 281,949,360 HP, and they both give 711,781 XP. Now I can only suggest this map to players who are very, very strong, because not only will you be dealing with a 5 level difference, you will also have to deal with the much higher Arcane Force requirements, and the HP bars on these mobs are bigger than normal mobs in Yum Yum Island and Choo Choo Island. They only give 100,000 more XP on average. But the map layout here is absolutely fantastic, and the amount of XP that you can get here is much, much greater than other maps if you can one-shot here. Not only that, when you hit level 220, this can be an option to farm all the way to 225 because it gives XP comparable to maps in Lachlan, which I will be covering right about now. So once you hit level 220 and unlock Lachlan, there is generally only one map I can suggest all the way to 225 or 230 depending on how strong you are, and that is Revelation Place 3. Now the minimum Arcane Force requirement here is 210, and the Arcane Force needed to do the maximum amount of damage is 315. You will be fighting Angry Masquerade Citizens and Insane Masquerade Citizens. They both have different stats, so I'll start by listing the first of the two, which is the Angry Masquerade Citizens. They are level 223. They have 302,887,950 HP, and they give 757,659 XP. The Insane Masquerade Citizens, on the other hand, are level 224. They have 310,025,160 HP, and they give 772,052 XP. Now, I can only suggest that you farm in this map unless if you one-shot the mobs here, because the XP in Hidden Illiard Field surpasses the XP in this map unless if you one-shot here. The only difference between this map and Hidden Illiard Field is that the mobs in Lachlan drop an item called Arcane River Droplet Stones, which are used to progress towards your endgame gear, the Arcane Umbra set. Now, once you hit level 225, if you're feeling a little confident in yourself, then you can start farming in the first map that I suggest in Arcana. It is called the Forest of Earth. The minimum Arcane Force requirement for this map is 280, and the Arcane Force requirement to do your maximum amount of damage is 420. Blaze it. You will be fighting Earth Spirits. They are level 232. They have 378,407,680 HP, and they give 940,189 XP. Now, just like the situation with Illiard Field and Rev 3, if you don't one-shot the mobs in this map, I highly suggest that you stay in Rev 3 until you do one-shot here. At this stage in the game, kill speed becomes a lot more important because the XP difference between the mobs becomes less and less significant. Now, there is another option for very strong players at level 225. The map is called Between Frost and Thunder 2, where you'll fight Snow Cloud Spirits and Thunder Cloud Spirits. They both have different stats, so the Snow Cloud Spirit is level 233. They have 386,789,760 HP, and they give 956,114 XP. The Thundercloud Spirits are level 234. They have 394,900,800 HP, and they give 974,146 XP. Once again, this is the same situation as the Earth Spirits, only come to this map if you are very strong. The Arcane Force requirement in this map is very, very high, so you'll only be one-shotting in this map if you have the gear to go along with it. So once you hit level 230, I suggest that you only start farming in maps that you one-shot the mobs in. So any map that I list from this point in time is making the assumption that you do one-shot these mobs. If you do not one-shot the mobs in this list, take some time to farm at the previous maps until you one-shot at these maps. So the next map in mind is everybody's favorite, Cavern Lower Path. You need 360 Arcane Force to farm at this map, To do your maximum amount of damage, you need 540 Arcane Force, and you will be fighting Befuddled Spirits. They are level 237. They have 420 million, blaze it, 91,840 HP, and they give 1,026,961 XP. This map is a timeless map. It's pretty much just Copper Drakes, but at level 237. So take it as you will. So there is a good alternative to Cavern Lower Path, or CLP, and it's called Deep in the Cavern Lower Path 1, or LP1. This map generally favors classes with higher verticality in terms of their hitboxes, because there is only 2 platforms in this map and they're fairly far apart, so you can only farm in this map efficiently if you have a good vertical hitbox on your main mobbing move. You will be fighting 2 mobs, the Befuddled Spirits once again, and the Mournful Spirits. The Mournful Spirits are level 239. They have 437,431,680 HP, and they give 1,064,141 XP. Once again, if you can't one-shot the mobs here, then it's best that you stick in CLP or maps that came beforehand. So once you get to level 235, explore Asphera and beat up Will. The first map that you'll find yourself farming in, that I suggest, is the Mirror Touched Sea 2. The minimum Arcane Force requirement for this map is 600, and the Arcane Force needed to do your maximum amount of damage is 900. You will be fighting Arañas, which are level 244. They have 603,598,800 HP, and they give 1,172,917 XP. Now, I suggest that you take this map all the way to 245 because of the familiar cards that these monsters give. But if you do want to min-max your XP and get to Tenebris or level 245 as fast as possible, then I suggest that you start farming in Celas maps as soon as you hit level 240. I will be covering what maps to farm in Celas right about now. Once you hit level 240, you go to Celas, and the first map that I suggest here is Plunging Depths 4. The Arcane Force requirement for this map is 640, and the Arcane Force needed to do your maximum amount of damage is 960. You'll be fighting Denabolas, which are level 249. They have 663,152,000 HP, and they give 1,272,399 XP. Now, the only reason why I can suggest Celas is because the map layouts here are much better than those in Asphera, and the burning stage here is relatively high because most people are farming in Asphera. There are 2 wonderful alternatives to Plunging Depths 4. Just pick whatever map suits your class best. The first map is the Star Swallowing Sea 1. The minimum Arcane Force requirement for this map is 670, and the Arcane Force needed to do your maximum amount of damage is 1005. You will be fighting Lily Boreas, which are now level 250. They have 743,050,000 HP, and they give 1,345,056 XP. Once again, the level difference and the Arcane Force difference is negligible. Just choose whichever map suits you best. And the other alternative to Plunging Depths 4 is the Star Swallowing Sea 4. It has the same requirements in terms of Arcane Force as the Star Swallowing Sea 1, and you will be fighting Angelus. They are level 251. They have 756,756,000 HP, and they give 1,366,292 XP. So once you hit level 245, explore the wonderful land of Tenebris and beat up this giant circle named Gloom. The third final map that I can recommend is Void Current 3. The Arcane Force requirement here is 730. The Arcane Force requirement to do the maximum amount of damage is 1095, and you will be fighting Burst and Crushing Glares. They both have the same stats, so I'll list them now. They are both level 254. They both have 798,613,200 HP, and they both give 1,430,694 XP. Once again, as we've been continuing halfway through the Arcane River, just make sure that you can one-shot these mobs before you actually farm here. If you don't one-shot these mobs, take some time in Asphera and not in Celas. The only reason why I suggest that is because familiars will become increasingly important the further you go on. Now, it's hard for me to suggest any maps in Labyrinth once you hit level 250 because all of the maps have very, very peculiar layouts and probably won't make you rate as good as the maps in Moonbridge. So if you want to see any sort of maps that you can farm in Labyrinth, you might want to search up class-specific guides to see what map is best for you if you want to farm in Labyrinth, because Labyrinth does give really good XP, but not Mesos. So once you get to level 255 and explore everything in Limina and learn everything that the Black Mage has to offer, there are two maps that I can suggest in Limina. The first, and my go-to pick for endgame farming, is End of the World 1-4. The Arcane Force requirement here is 880 at the bare minimum, and the Arcane Force needed to do the maximum amount of damage is 1320. You will be fighting Ascendions. Ascendions are level 262. They have 917,658,280 HP, and they give 1,610,556 XP. Now, this map is everything you would want from a map in Maplestory. The mobs are super dense, and the map layout is close to perfect. Pretty much any sort of class can farm in this map because the mobs are huge and it's super dense. Would recommend 10 out of 10. Now, the best alternative to End of the World 1-4 is its next door neighbor, End of the World 1-5. The Arcane Force requirements are the same, so I'll just slap them right over here. And you will still be fighting Ascendions, but you will also be fighting Forbarions. I will list their stats now. They are level 263. They have 932,861,160 HP, and they give 1,633,278 XP. Now, this map is a little larger. It is a little more horizontal and a little more vertical, so some classes might have a little bit of trouble farming in this map, but generally it is still very good, and the potential here for your rates are even better than what they are in 1-4. And that's it. That's all the maps I have to recommend, and that's how I suggest that you should be leveling all the way to level 275. Personally, I have not farmed in Cernium, Burnium, or Hotel Arcus, so I won't be giving my opinions or any sort of guides on those until I get to those points. I'll probably make separate videos for those and make them a lot more shorter in form. But I thank you guys for watching. It was probably very annoying to listen to me ramble for an hour and just list a bunch of numbers, but hopefully it was informative. And if it was, please do consider liking, commenting, subbing, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thank you.